My name is Colin Vearncombe, but I am better known as Black.
You come from Liverpool.
It's true. I was born there in 1962.
And Liverpool is known as a town where many musicians come from. More football players, but a lot of musicians come from Liverpool. Did this have any influence on you?
Yeah, because the focus of the music business, the record companies, was so often on Liverpool after the Beatles and then during the 70s until bands that I was interested in, like Echo and the Bunnymen and the Teardrop Explodes, they were kind of heroes of mine. You saw them and you thought it was possible. In many other places in Britain, there's no culture, no local culture of that, so they don't feel that it's perhaps the same way.
But you went to London.
Eventually, yeah. I was spending so much time there anyway, working, recording a lot, that I rented a flat, and then I thought, oh, I'll buy a flat, an apartment, you know. And then I was going to go back to Liverpool, and then I met the lady that became my wife, and she needed to be there, so we stayed quite a long time. It was 16, 17 years. And then our children were at a certain age. The school would change. It'd be high school, not the kindergarten or the in between. And we moved to Ireland, south of Ireland, about 13 years ago.
And you're living in Ireland now?
Yeah, we're loving it. I look at the sea. There's no one there. The village is maybe 1,200 people year round.
Really rural.
Very, yeah. Well, it's nice to visit cities, but I get very tired in cities if I'm there too much. Mm.
And your wife, she is Swedish.
Yeah, she's half Swedish, half German.
And she's also a singer.
Yeah, she was in a pop band at the time, a Norwegian pop band. And then she went into opera, and now she's singing more in the world music area. She sings a lot of Spanish language material, tango, and salsa, and she sings. And she's studying for a master's degree in music performance at the moment.
And did you make any records together?
Let's see. She sang with me on my albums quite a lot, other than using the name Lady Black. Little joke. And then we had a side project which we called Dogtail Soup in Ireland, where there was another artist, Fergus O'Farrell, who had a band called Interference, and a film composer, Maurice Caesar, and the four of us used to get together just during the winter, and we'd drink and play songs and sing together. And we started this band because we wanted music in West Cork, where we live, and there wasn't really much music, so we were performing in churches quite often. And we'd perform sometimes Mozart, sometimes black songs, sometimes Italian opera, sometimes Fergus's Irish songs. And it became quite popular, but it was nearly taking over. It was a kind of cabaret, in the end. They had to stop.
That's a pity, I think.
Who knows? It might start again. The problem is Fergus has a lot of physical problems. He's in a wheelchair. He has a muscular dystrophy, and he can't sing anymore. And then my wife and I split up 5 years ago, although we still live on the same property, raise the kids, team. So it became a little more difficult to do it, because performing music together it's a very emotional thing, and too easy to make things complicated.
You had a worldwide hit. Everybody knows it. Wonderful World. But how old were you when you wrote the song?
24, 25, something like that.
Young men in that age, they think about sex and football and their bodies and their drinking, and this is very serious. It's very poetic. So, weren't you that kind of guy?
Well, I still am that kind of guy, but yeah, I think about drinking, I think about sex, I think about football, but I also love poetry. I like to read philosophy, things like this. At the time I wrote it, I was homeless, so it was not a good time for me, which is why it has that slightly bitter quality. That and the other song we were talking about earlier, The Sweetest Smile, were written in the same 2 weeks period, very quickly. And from that point, my life turned on its head. I was homeless, but I wasn't friendless, so I was doing what they call couch surfing, where you stay with friends for a little while and then move on and then go around. So if you wanted to contact me, you needed to know 6 telephone numbers because there were no mobile phones at that time. 85, 86, just the beginning.
I was too young for this song at that time, I think, because no, it wasn't funny. It was very melancholic.
Yeah, it's what some people say that to me as a criticism, and other people as why they like it. And I think the combination of the melancholia, but a very positive title, was intriguing for people, and one of the reasons ultimately they like it so much.
Oh, I love this song now. Now I'm older, but it's timeless. This song is timeless. When you hear it, when you don't know it, and you hear it today, you don't think that it's that old. That it's nearly 30 years old.
Yeah. Well, I personally, I was never interested in the fashionable music of the time. I wanted to know why some things become classic and other things are forgotten. And I realized that it was more about what you didn't do than what you did do. If you're being very honest with yourself about what you do in music, then you wait longer to make the money. If someone's saying, we'll give you a lot of money to do this thing, and you don't like that thing, then you say no. You can always say no. But it's very difficult because most of the time you don't make any money in music. Just sometimes you can get lucky. Yeah, I was playing in bands from the age of 15, so it took me 10 years to break through. And I'd already been in another recording contract. In 1985, I was in 2 car crashes, and I was dropped by my record company. I was dropped by my publishing company, and I split up with my first wife because I've been married twice. That was not a good time. So I ended up homeless, as I say, but the result of that was something very positive. So you could never know what's coming. And it would appear that I have written a modern standard, a modern classic. I was lucky. I worked with a guy called Dave Dix, who from another band in Liverpool, and he was into production. He wanted to push buttons. He didn't want to be in a band anymore. He wanted to be in the studio, and his approach was quite unique at the time for Liverpool, and it gave me this sound, the background. And maybe if I was the foreground in a painting, he did everything else. And notice that when the record companies make 80s compilations, quite often Wonderful Life is not on it, but lots of other compilations. Like there was Universal made a Songs for Miserable People, and that was on it. So that's interesting. So I think I managed to avoid fashion, because the thing about fashion is what's fashionable today is not fashionable tomorrow. And I really didn't want the hassle, the trouble of trying to reinvent myself every year like David Bowie used to do, or I just think of other artists like that. I don't know, maybe Prince did the same thing for a while. who are you really? What is it that moves your soul? I do now. Yes, I always used to write poetry, and then I stopped when I was writing a lot of songs. I was also a painter. I went to art school, and then I stopped doing that. And at a certain point, a few years ago, I found that I wanted to stop writing songs for a little while and just let my brain rest. And that was what I started doing. And some friends saw it and encouraged me to share it with other people. And it's going quite well. And last year, I think I sold 5,000 euros worth of paintings last year. I mean, I wouldn't say I'm an artist or I like to do it. And if you like it, you want to buy it, then you can. It's very simple. So, okay, it's just 5,000 euros, but that pays for the Christmas presents for the kids.
Oh, 5,000 euros is quite a lot. And you also have exhibitions.
I did start to have exhibitions. I haven't had one for a little while. I think next year it's time to do some more painting. And the third poetry book I'm planning as well. As I realized I buy a lot more books than I do CDs. And I've got some Facebook friends and people that have appeared, and it's a wonderful thing when you have a small community. They're real pen pals. They send me, have you read this poet? No, I haven't. And it's fascinating. Well, it's, who did I just read this? Yehuda Amichai, an Israeli poet. Really very interesting. Billy Collins, an American. I'd never read him before. And then there's an old American guy, Irish-American guy locally who speaks Spanish, and he introduced me to Lorca and Pablo Neruda. He's fluent in Spanish, but he also... who did he introduce me to? Who's the really hot German poet? He's really... Rilke.
Rilke.
Yeah, yes, I've been enjoying him. And there's something very interesting happens if this approach, the same approach as poetry in a way. Song lyrics are not poetry. Song lyrics have to sound right also. It's very difficult to be as free as you can be in a poem. But the reason why so much successful music, songs, that is, music songs, is successful at all is somehow that if someone shares what appears to be a problem, or they think about a serious issue with you, it can make you feel better. When I think of classic pop music, it's not happy.
Not?
Not really. It makes me feel happy. But Roy Orbison, In Dreams, Only the Lonely, Know the Way I Feel Tonight, and the music soars and it lifts your soul up with it. But I should be so lucky, lucky, lucky. No, that just makes me feel really depressed. I met Leonard Cohen years ago, and he was one of the funniest people I ever met. And I realized that there's a very mordant sense of humor in his writing. He's aware of himself in a way. He's not depressing at all. It's just the sound of him, you know.
It got deeper and through the years, because when you listen to his old songs, he doesn't sound that depressive. So
well, I can hear that desperation in him though, because he wanted to be able to sing, and he knew that he couldn't sing, and now he's comfortable with what he can do. I saw him in Berlin two years ago, with a voice, the floor shaking, and his jokes, made me laugh so much.
His song Hallelujah. Most Germans don't know the text, so they think it's a Christian song, and so our in my village, the choir sings it in the church.
Well, yeah, I think the song is about more than one thing. But most of all, I think it's a song about writing songs and what can about creation. So it's torture sometimes for the person that's trying to. After the song is finished, you think, oh, it was so easy. I mean, and it should seem like it was easy, like poof, it just happens, but it doesn't. There are so many mistakes that you make every step of the way. Yeah. But sometimes I wonder why we do it. It's all the same subject.
Is it?
It's about life. It's about being alive and why we bother to stay alive.
You're introducing your new album, Blind Faith.
Well, yes. Most of all, I'm playing in Germany again, and I haven't done a tour of Germany since 1993.
That's now.
Yeah, and it wasn't my choice. It just seemed like no one was interested. Most of all, a promoter needs to have confidence that they're not going to lose money if they book you. So 3 years ago, I played in Hamburg and Colin. Hamburg was fantastic, and Köln was nearly a disaster, yet again. And then nothing for 3 years. I made a new album, and the phone rings twice. So here we are, and yes, I'm playing new songs. I'm also playing old songs. But the future, now and the future is always of more interest than the past. So I have to hope that people are patient enough to wait. Of course, they want to hear something they know. But there are two ways to listen to music. One is to listen for what you want. And the other way is to listen to what it is. Do I like this? Would I choose this again? And I'm hoping that more people will be the latter. In one sense, my songs are all autobiographical, but it's never just my story. I use what I know to create stories. Well, for instance, with the song When It's Over, it sounds like it's saying it's over, it's never over. Because I realized, my wife and I have had these problems, but we still love each other. Maybe we can't be the same kind of couple we were before, but the really important thing was the children. And because we realized that if our children were unhappy, we couldn't be happy. So first them, sex, and be nice. That's what, be respectful and find the way to talk if you can. Not because you're trying to find a way back to each other, but just because it's the right thing to do.
To find a new way.
Yeah, how to move forward. And we see what the future has. And I realized that if so many couples, when they break up, they attack each other. You did this, you said that. Well, I only said that because you did this. Blah, blah, blah. If you stop for a moment, and I choose to remember the person I fell in love with 25 years ago, that's more important. So when I say, when it's over, it's never over, it's never over, because I have that in my mind. That's the memory that I carry. Of course, on a daily basis, sometimes you have an argument, you shout, you fight, or whatever. That's normal. That's human beings.
Many people should think like you.
Well, I think it would help. Yeah. I mean, we have not enough love in the world. It really does help. We have and we see what happens when people resort to violence. It usually creates more violence. Vengeance is our to the aux armes, said Hollande. And I think, no. Yes, you don't let it happen again, but to arms, show me the enemy. Where are they? Yeah, I'm going to Belgium in a week,
Yes,
but not to Brussels, thankfully. My first visit to Bruges, and I'm hoping that the concert still happens, but we don't know.
Oh, you don't know?
Not really. Bruges is not closed. It's not like Bruxelles. But who knows what happens in the next week?
Oh, I didn't think about that. No.
Yeah.
There we are again at the assassinations.
Well, this is the nature of our lives in this time. And there's no use in pretending it's not happening.
No, but I think when you remember the 70s in Germany, they were full of terror, and nobody does remember today.
I remember.
You remember?
Oh, the Bader-Meinhof,
Yes.
ETA in the Basques in
yes, in
Spain.
In Ireland?
Of course. Yeah, and in the Balkans, of course. Since we, as a race, human beings have not covered themselves in glory, mostly. But there are people that show the way, that speak a truth which transcends. If you're Gandhi, Mandela, Martin Luther King, in particularly, great men that understood that the bottom line in the relationship of life is love. It's easy to be sidetracked, step away from what we talk about because someone does something to you, or a friend or a child, and your instinctive reaction is to retaliate. So I begin to see, I think, what Jesus was allegedly saying when he says, turn the other cheek. It's not allow people to do that. I think it's take a deep breath and think about what's really happening here. Sometimes we just don't know what's going on in other people's lives. So I was very encouraged. We just came from Hamburg, and I was talking to a lady there who was telling me about how Facebook had been used to create a community of people that were prepared to offer short-term accommodation for refugees. And they had 1,000 new refugees each month arriving in Cologne. I was like, wow, it's astonishing. I mean, it's a big problem in the world right now. There's a lot of people trying to run away because they're scared for their lives. And it's incredibly ironic that in America, which just celebrates the Feast of Thanksgiving, which is Thanksgiving for the welcome that migrants and refugees from something got in America and giving them food, are now saying that they want to close the doors. No refugees here, and they still think of themselves as Christians. It's understandable in a way. Before 9/11, nothing had ever happened in the States. Pearl Harbor, but that's Hawaii,
That
is
was
it?
far
The most
away.
isolated, exactly. No one has ever attacked America. They've never had to deal with that kind of problem. In Europe, I mean, if you're British, everyone that wanted a long holiday in Europe was in Britain. The Angles, the Saxons, the Vikings, the Romans, you name it. In they come. And then there are also the Celts, the Welsh living there, fighting. In mainland Europe, it's the same. It comes this way, we take it. It goes back way. Someone else has it. Endlessly. It's, I don't know, a science of theft.
Yes. When you look at the frontiers through the years, they changed every 50 years in Europe.
Exactly. So I'm hoping that we're beginning to see that the way forward requires a type of thinking that we share, and that it's much more important to look at the thoughts and the feelings and opinions that we share than what makes us different one from the other.
Shouldn't we look what we have in common?
You said it much better than me. That's exactly what I meant.
Okay, with different words.
What we have in common is much more important than how we differ.
Your new single is Ashes of Angels. And I didn't understand. What did you mean with we drive through the ashes of angels? What does it mean?
I was interested in the idea that we don't see what was important in the last moment, and we could, what's the lyrical? We could see stars walk on rainbows, yet we walk through the ashes of angels. Many of the things that we think we want. We say they don't exist, we can't see them. They're here. If I believe in the kingdom of heaven, I think this is the kingdom of heaven. Or it's also hell. You choose. I don't have I don't believe in God with a beard, you know. I have a definition of God that works for me, but I know 200 years ago, I would have been burnt as a heretic. I'm very committed to goodness, morality, ethics. Why isn't that the same thing? I don't see why I would need to pray to God, but I do pray, just not in the same way.
I understand.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
everybody
cool.
should have his own belief and must be permitted to have it.
Yeah, and that is the issue of the moment. IS believe that everybody should have this 7th century version of Islam that they prescribe. Although I'm very interested to see that yesterday, over 1,000 Muslim leaders in India condemned IS as not being in any way true to the faith of Islam.
No, it's not, yes.
Apostasy, they call it. Now,
Apostasy.
what is a true Muslim? Because the West considers, well, there's only one type. Actually, no, there isn't. Just like there are lots of types of Christian and other types. You know?
And they have all things in common. Jews and the Abrahamitic religions.
Exactly.
And so
This is why there's a problem with apostasy.
I thank you very much, Colin.
You're very welcome, Natalie.